A hiker found a camera lying on a forest path in the Scottish woodlands. When he plugged it into his computer later, it turned out to be footage recorded on a mountain biker's GoPro. As the video begins, we can see the biker riding calmly through the woods with his buddy ahead of him. As they make their way through the maze of trees, his buddy suddenly stops in his tracks and glances worriedly back at him, slyly pointing to the right. On turning his head, the biker sees a dark, witch-like figure standing super close and staring right back at them. They fortunately use their wits and quietly continue biking, trying very hard not to spook the witch or show that they're scared. The footage, though, shows that their speed has suddenly increased as they hope to escape as quickly as possible. Coming across a scary witch in the day is something we're never prepared for. Would you have reacted this calmly if you were greeted with something this ominous? Let us know in the comments below. A kid's school was located amidst dense wilderness, and on one evening, he thought he had seen a weird creature, possibly a Sasquatch, lurking in the bushes nearby. Though he chose to return home then, his curiosity got the best of him and he returned a week later, that too at night, to check it out. Armed with a flashlight and his friend at his side, he ventured into the dense foliage, tracking all possible movement. As we can see in the eerie footage, the duo comes across movement of something moving ahead. They courageously walk in that direction, but all of a sudden, their flashlight shines on a super scary ghostly face staring at them. Before they have time to react, the Sasquatch jumps out of the bush in an attempt to catch them.
Oh my gosh! Help! Help! Oh my gosh!
Scared for their lives, the kids start shouting and running in pitch dark. The camera probably fell from their hands and we don't know if they survived the night or if someone else found the footage on the forest floor. Guess we shouldn't always listen to our curious side, especially when it comes to weird things in the woods. An explorer thought it would be a good idea to venture into the wilderness on a moonlit, foggy night. His decision soon turned out to be foolish. As he walked past dense bushes, enjoying the mystery that every step unfolded, he was greeted with an unpleasant sight. Behind the dense fog stood a tree, and behind it, he saw a pair of glowing eyes. On looking closely, these set of eyes belonged to what seemed like a scary cryptid, who was possibly stalking the explorer. His instant reaction was obviously fear, as his hands trembled. Fortunately, he chose to shut his camera and run as fast as he could before the stationary cryptid chose to pursue him. Possibly, the cryptid was just curiously looking, who knows. Would you be able to keep your cool and escape in such a situation? Or would you just freeze? We'd love to know. National parks can often be risky places to visit, often housing creatures we've never even heard of. One such incident can be seen in this intriguing footage, recorded by an avid wildlife enthusiast who was trying to capture the local wildlife on his camera. Waiting for an animal to pass by, he sat quietly with his camera recording when he noticed a large creature darting across the meadow. Though he initially thought it was a large cat, its unusual features, a massive torso, long pointed tail, and a peculiar gait, made him wonder if it was something never caught on tape before. The long strides it took was unlike any known large animal, making him wonder if this was indeed the rumored beast of Dartmoor that folklore talks about. Luckily for him, the alleged beast disappeared without spotting him, and no harm came to the explorer. Recording from a distance was thus a wise decision. His hike out to civilization, though, would definitely have been scary. What do you think this beast was? A Reddit user posted a chilling encounter he had when out for a walk with his dog. Though he frequently used the path to take his dog for an evening walk, it did pass through an urban forest and thus wasn't free of risks. Of late, he had been hearing something strange running nearby when used to pass through. On a peculiarly dark night, he heard a weird thrashing sound near a creek which used to flow near the walking path. Luckily, he had his torch and he shone it around, hoping to spot whatever was running around. Suddenly, the elusive figure made a loud and scary sound which spooked this person, and he didn't wait around to make sense of it, choosing instead to bolt with his buddy. The footage shows him running for his life, especially as it was quite dark and he didn't have anyone around for help. Let's hope he did make it back without a scratch. The spooky situation also scared the dog, who, rather than barking, chose to run instead. Guess even animals know when to fight and when to exit. Can you make out what the cryptid was that wanted to harm the lonely soul? YouTuber Paranormal Idolin was hiking past a patch of woods when his camera caught something unusual. As he was recording his pleasant surroundings, he spotted a black figure, which resembled the Grim Reaper staring back at him from a clearing nearby. Unable to believe his eyes and suspecting that it was just an apparition, he continued recording, but his sixth sense told him that something was amiss, so he panned the camera back in the direction. To his dismay, the figure hadn't moved a bit and seemed persistent in stalking him. Scared to death, he acted as if he hadn't seen anything and quietly continued on his path. Sadly, the video ended, as he might have stopped recording after the scary encounter. He mentions that he felt quite sick after this incident, which leads us to believe that what he came across was definitely ominous, and he did have a brush with death itself that day. Guess hiking alone is never a great idea. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Dan was enjoying his time off at his cabin in the woods when his dog went berserk and began barking non-stop at something. Alarmed, he looked in the direction, only to see a huge head appear from behind his fence. Though he initially thought it was a person, he was reminded that his fence was 9 feet tall, and if someone was lurking behind it with his head visible, it was nothing human. His loyal dog had indeed discovered the mysterious Bigfoot, who was surprisingly stalking Dan. He kept recording until the giant was visible, and the Bigfoot, fortunately, wasn't curious enough to break into his backyard. What had brought it out of the deep woods remains a mystery, and Dan would have patted himself for both building a strong fence and training his dog well. Do you think you could have kept you calm in such a situation as Dan did? Do let us know. A brave explorer went on a night hike through the forest when he came across an eerie graveyard. He was not prepared for what he had seen here. Surprised to spot so many graves in the middle of nowhere, he pulled out his phone and began videotaping the unique place. All he could see was dark bushes covered with occasional frost, with the uncanny gravestones colored in white scattered all around. As he panned his camera around the place, he saw what seemed like white figures sitting on the edge of one of the bigger graves. Though initially he confused the figure for another gravestone, his suspicions turned true when the spirit suddenly disappeared into thin air a few seconds later. Unable to believe what he saw, he moved the camera many times, probably in an attempt to find the spirit, hoping it was someone and not something. Fear gripped his mind as he realized that he was definitely not alone, that too in pitch dark. The video cuts short here, and we don't know if he encountered the spirit again, though he certainly would have auditioned his penchant for night hikes.